Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From the District with State Senator Suzanne Weber. As always, I'm joined with the Senator herself. Senator Weber, how are you?
It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's
Um,
always good to see you.
Right now, I'm just a little tired of rain and wind.
You live in the wrong place, then.
The poor coast. I feel so
I
sorry
know.
for them.
I I know. I know it's not an attractive topic, but I had a septic pumper coming up to my property um, to to do what they do, and he gave me a call and said, "Hey, look, I can't help you today. It's too wet, too much water." Like,
Yeah.
man, I can't even
Can't even pump a
eh,
septic tank. I
can't
know
even cut myself. It's that time of year, though. I mean, it just rains a lot.
it is. And I know that, this morning I took the dog out um, we went for our walk at about, I think it was before 5 o'clock, and it was raining so hard that I came home and had to put my coat in the dryer so that I could wear it to work.
Oh man, like I said, it's that time of year. But March and April are right around the corner.
Yes.
Hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah, and you know that
Literally.
the exciting thing is, okay, so when I was home this weekend, I noticed that I have a little patch of miniature daffodils.
Oh,
Oh, and one day they were all blooming, and then the next day I noticed that I have little baby slugs, about a quarter of an inch long, that had eaten the whole bunch.
well, if it wasn't going to be the slugs, it was going to be Martin.
That's true.
That's true. Well, Senator, how has your week been? What? I wait. What was last week like? Because we record these on Mondays. So, what was your last week like?
Let me tell you, it was crazy. We were busy every single day. We had committee Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Um, Great transportation committee meetings, great education committee meetings. And then, there's always the people who make appointments to talk to me about various bills and, what they are in favor of, and various groups of people that are in the Capitol just to visit. And I think we have pictures that are going to be in the newsletter of folks that came to visit. And it's nice that we have that ability to keep, even though the Capitol is under construction and we have limited space, we still have people coming to spend the day to learn about government. I'm encouraged by that, even though they can't get into the rotunda and see the grandness of the whole business building. They get to check in on the construction and see how that's going. But
Right.
it is good that our capital is still open for business. And I come out of education ways and means at about 2:30 every afternoon, because we meet 4 days a week. And the hallway in front of all of the hearing rooms is packed. And every day it's a different color, because somebody's got a green scarf or a blue scarf or a green
Yeah.
shirt or a yellow shirt. And so you see all of the groups that are here. And it's wonderful that, we have allowed and continued to allow government to have a voice.
Yes. And it is. It's so good to have those halls full again. With construction and with COVID, it was just there's some weird years,
Yeah.
and it's so good to have it filled with the people and to lesser extent lobbyists and advocacy groups who really do want to have their voices heard. And like the senator said, if you have a bill or have legislation that you feel that you would like her to address, by all means, reach out to the office, and we can get you some time to speak with the senator, either in person or or virtually or over the phone.
Yes.
As always, if you have a matter that isn't legislative related, or you want to talk about it something that doesn't have to do with active legislation, um, certainly you can give us a call. But don't be surprised if we encourage you to reach back out in July because um, there's just such a limited amount of time. Those time slots are about
Yeah.
15 minutes, and there's just so
Yeah.
much to do.
Yes. And the other thing that was really nice this week was the town hall leaders up in Rockaway.
Oh, yes.
Well, the leaders, Bonamici and Merkley, were up there.
Mhm.
And from what I understand, I know because I was there, the stands were full. There were about 450 people there.
Wow.
And, that's something that we need to also embrace is our ability to be able to speak to our national leaders about issues that are going on in Washington, D.C. Because, I don't go to Washington, D.C., I go to Salem. And
Right.
so,
Good thing to remind people because we do get emails asking you to reject members of the president's cabinet or to
right,
approve members of the president's cabinet, which of course you
yes,
don't do. You are not that kind of senator. You are a state senator, and you can certainly vote to support or reject members of the governor's appointees, but you cannot do so for the president.
right.
So, Senator, we got three bills I want to talk about today. One that actually has a public hearing. Well, it was supposed to have a public hearing. Unfortunately, they just ran out of time, so it will probably get rescheduled. And two that don't have a public hearing yet, that we certainly hope will, because I think
Yeah.
they're two good bills. But let's talk about the one that you had scheduled to testify on, but they just ran out of time. SB 382, and this would exempt prescriptions sold at pharmacies from the construction, or sorry, the
Capital
commercial
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 activities tax.
activities tax. I'm
We've
sorry.
called it the cat tax for so long that, sometimes you forget what those acronyms,
Right, but that doesn't even make sense because if it's a cat tax, it's the commercial activities tax. So unless you're taxing cats, so SB 382, you are carrying this bill. You're the sponsor of this bill. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we have lost so many pharmacies
Right.
since that was instituted because the amount of money that pharmacies are making just isn't enough to be able to pay the bills to stay open. Their profit margin is so slim. And then to be able to have to be required to pay an additional tax on gross revenue is extremely hard. And one pharmacy person told me, he said, I'm not making any money on the medications that I'm able to provide. I'm only making money on what's in the aisles, the shampoo and the deodorant and, those sorts of things, the little gifty things. And so it's been very hard for them. And we have seen a lot of them close. I mean, look at you in Tillamook,
Right.
banks. And, that's only the tip of the iceberg. And
Right.
so then we have a lot of people that are relying on, the big producers like Safeways and Fred Meyer. And then we saw Bimart get out of the business too. Now we're hearing that places like Walgreens are going to be closing their prescription facilities. So, we're running out of choices. Now there is a pharmacy in Wheeler that
Right.
people don't, really know about or use because additionally it would take time to drive up there. And then we have pharmacies that come by them through the mail. And I have had people complain to me about them because of the postal system.
Well,
because
my worry
system-
about that is,
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of little kids, and when they have, an ear infection or something like that, I can't wait for 24, 48 hours for the drugs to get there. And that's if I'm lucky to 24, 48 hours, right? I mean, I need them right there. So, and then you think about maybe those folks who are elderly who get sick more often. They can't wait that extra time, and
Right.
so they're having to drive 50 miles or so. In the rural areas, it's really bad. In the
Right.
metro areas, maybe it means driving an extra 3 miles to the other Walgreens across town.
Right.
But
You
the
know,
world's
then the
different.
other thing is so much is lost in translation, and people get phone calls saying you can pick up your prescription, and they go and they wait in line and wait in line to be served and find out it's not there. That
Mhm.
it'll be there in so many days. Um,
Yeah.
that's really hard for them to swallow too, because we've been used to going to the pharmacy with our prescription and putting it on the table and they fill it.
Right. That's what we always did.
Listen, yeah,
The doctor would actually hand you the piece of paper.
right,
You'd go to the pharmacy, you'd hand them the piece of paper, you'd go shop in their aisles, right? And then buy
right.
couple of things there. And then 15 minutes later, it was ready. And boy, that's just different than it is now. So,
Well, and there was one time when I had an oral surgery and I needed a prescription, and I went and I stood in line for an hour and a half because there were 7 people in line. I I needed the prescription because one of them was a painkiller. I got to the window and he said, "I'm sorry, we're closing." But
oh my gosh.
our competitor will be open for another 10 minutes. I'm sure you can get there.
Oh my gosh.
So, this is happening to people on a regular basis. And so as a result, I would like to change that so that our pharmacies are not subject um, to that tax.
Well,
And
and it's
yes,
important
the
to remember it's not
revenue from the tax is doing a lot of good things for education. However, what about the people that are suffering because of it?
right. And it's important to note that it's not exempting pharmacies in toto.
Not
It's
no
exempting the
prescription
prescriptions.
medicine.
So
Yes,
yeah, so it's not like if you've got a Safeway and they also are prescriptive. They also have a pharmacy, so that all of Safeway gets exempted. That's not the case.
no, that's not it.
It is just the medication that's
Right.
being exempted. So we don't have a replacement time for that hearing yet, as of Monday afternoon, but hopefully we will get that.
The hearings ran long
They did.
in revenue this morning, and so I understand that you have to
Yep,
put
it
things
happens.
off into the future.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about 2 bills before we get out of time here that you have introduced but have not yet gotten a public hearing, and that is the first step in a bill um, to move it forward. Let's start with SB 460. Now, this, I know when you were mayor of Tillamook, you dealt with prevailing wage law
Yes.
a lot. So this bill would exempt pre-apprenticeship participants. So
Right.
kids who are just learning about apprenticeships, not even apprenticeships, pre-apprenticeships, prevailing wages. Because right now, is some of these programs, we have kids getting involved,
Yes.
and they are part of these. They have to be paid prevailing wage.
Right. Like the Job Corps.
Right.
Long point. The prevailing wage is it's going to be stifling.
Right.
And we have got to be able to make sure that they have that experience in labor and business without killing the whole idea. So if they have that experience, they can go on, they can continue. And prevailing wage can pertain basically to big government projects, not our small kid programs where kids are just learning.
Right. And that really, especially when we're talking about Job Corps, something like this takes a big chunk out of the money that they have available for these projects for these kids. And I mean, we're not talking about making sure a government is paying, journeyman electricians proper wages. And we're talking about kids who are just trying to figure out what they want to do in life, right?
Right.
And it's not just government, but in the private sector as well. Um, so I think this is a pretty common sense bill. I don't think you're attacking. Certainly, you've had your issues with the prevailing wage laws, but I don't think this is an attack on that at all. This is um,
Yes,
just
and
carve out.
you know that prevailing wage laws were extremely hard for small cities to
Right,
swallow.
right,
When we did our city hall in Tillamook, how much the prevailing wage drove the price tag of the remodel of City Hall up. Well,
right,
small small operations just can't. They can't do that.
right.
They can't. They can't fund it. They can't support it.
Boy, that is true. I was on city council with you when we started that fun shindig, and yes, it was the price kept going up.
Yes.
Well, this bill is currently assigned to the Senate Committee on Labor and Business. That the chair of that committee is Senator Kathleen Taylor. So
Yes.
we'd encourage everybody to reach out to Senator Taylor and respectfully ask that she schedule a public hearing for SB 460. So
Yes.
Senator Kathleen Taylor, SB 460. Schedule a public hearing, please. That'll get us that's the first step. That's the first thing that happens after a bill has been assigned to a committee. Before it can be voted on, it needs to have a public hearing, which is an opportunity for everybody, for,
Yes.
against, or neutral,
Or
to,
against,
to,
yes. And
to voice their opinion.
you have the ability to be in person or
Yep.
virtual or to submit written testimony.
Right.
And I know that when we have a bill that comes forward in committee, first thing I do is look at the testimony and see who
Mhm.
is in favor of it or who is against it, and if anyone is even registered. And I think that's important.
There's a lot of bills that come through in public hearing, and go look at the testimony, and there's nothing, or there's something maybe from a gentleman who calls himself Mr. Oregon, who
Right.
has an opinion on every bill.
He does.
Um, and I don't know who he is, but
I don't either.
yeah,
Haven't
I
had
believe he's from
meeting
Newburgh.
Oregon.
Yeah, I believe he's from Newburgh, and I don't know if he's retired and just this is what he does, but um, yeah.
He has an
So
inquiring mind. Yes.
he does, and God bless him for that. The other one is just one bill forward, SB 461. This is a bipartisan bill that you brought, and this would require that that
Retail.
the retailers who sell uh, that sell
Clamming,
fish
crabbing, fishing,
licenses,
hunting.
hunting license, that that always provide a paper license, and also it reinstates the amount of money that a retailer makes. So tell us how this concept came to you, and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it came to me from several retailers up and down the coast who sell these licenses. People come from all over, and they get enthused about the area, and they want to go crabbing, they want to go clamming. We have a great number of hunters, and we also have large stretches of areas that have no cell service or computer or Wi-Fi or anything like that. Well, the plan, as it came forward, that was brought to me by those retailers, was that they were going to do away with paper licenses. Okay, so you're out in the boat, and here comes the game warden, and you have no Wi-Fi and no ability to get on your phone. Maybe you don't even know how to do it, and find out that your license is on there. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can figure that out and make sure it's okay. But a lot of people are not able to do that. And so, it made it hard. It would make it hard if they didn't have a piece of paper that they could hand over to a game warden to show them that they have a license. So the other thing is, you go into a facility planning on buying a license, and you have two ways that you can do it. You can go on the computer, and they have the computer there that you can, get the license, or you can have someone write you a paper license. Okay, if they write you a paper license, the retailer will get $2 for each paper license they write. For each computer license is $1. Okay, so what they wanted to do was take that $2 away from the retailers for writing the paper license and just have it $1 across the board. Well, the retailers were very upset about that because that is revenue for them. And a lot of times, if it's going to be applied for on the computer, it can take up to 15, 20 minutes to happen. But if somebody's writing it by paper, it can take 5 minutes. And so
Right.
people can see results, get their license, and get out of there much faster with a lot more information than if it's solely on the computer. And then you have to rely too on the fact that your Wi-Fi is up and you can get on the system. It's not overloaded. There were so many issues revolving just doing it on the computer that the retailers just did not want to put up with. And so that's why that bill came forward. ODFW has been in my office several times to let me know of the status of that. And I don't know if the bill will be coming forward, but I think that they are going to retain the system that they already have.
Right. I know I had a conversation with them as well, and I think we definitely caused some impact, even if the bill isn't heard. I think at least that, like you said, the system seems like it's going to stay. Just
what I want, though, is I want a guarantee from them.
Right. And that's the purpose of the law. And that's why we want to do this. I'm just contemplating seeing my 90-year-old grandfather being told he has to get a smartphone to put his fishing license on it. I mean, that's just no way. Not to happen.
How about standing up in the boat and dropping it over the edge?
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Yeah, exactly. So this is another bill that came about because people are thinking that the agency is thinking we want to modernize, so we're going to do things all electronically, and they don't think about folks in rural areas who maybe don't have cell phones, or if they do have cell phones, they don't have smartphones, and that not everything is on this little gray rectangle from hell. They have other ways of doing things, and glad we could bring this bill. Like you said, it has not been scheduled yet. It is currently sitting in the Senate Committee for Natural Resources and Wildfire. That committee is chaired by Senator Jeff Golden. So we encourage everybody to reach out to Senator Golden. And ask him respectfully to schedule a public hearing for SB 461. To ensure that our retailers are properly paid, and that if you want a hunting license, a fishing license, a climbing license, a crabbing license, you can get it as you always have. So SB 461.
Yes.
Senator, that's what I got. What else you got?
Well, I just wanted to tell you that we had a visitor this morning. Yes. Senate President Rob Wagner stopped in to chat. And he has come to our district several times. He loves the oysters. He loves the vegetables at Josie's food stand. I've taken him up in the woods, and I've taken him to the mill to see just how things are happening here. He is on a mission to visit every state park in the state. And so we were able to provide him with several state parks in our district for him to enjoy. But in the process, we've, formed a friendship, and it's nice to have the president being, someone who just walks into your office and sits down and talks. The other thing I wanted to recognize was Ruby from the museum.
Oh, yes, I saw.
Ruby retired.
Ruby, this is for those folks who maybe not be from Tillamook. This is Ruby Fry Watson from the Tillamook Pioneer Museum, who's just a legend there.
She is. And I just, I don't know if she gets to see our podcast or not, but I know that there's something about the way she was the museum.
Yeah.
She was the museum, or she is
Yeah.
the museum.
Yeah.
You're doing
It'll
family
be,
research, or if you're looking for something, or you have an event, Ruby's there.
it just, she came on, I think, either right before Wayne Jensen retired or like right about at that same time, right?
Yes.
So it seemed like even though she was worked as an office assistant and a welcomer, and Wayne was the curator, um, those two people, like they just kind of, they were the museum,
Yes.
and so boy, I don't know how they're going to replace her, but
No, but there are people all up and down the coast that have given their work lives to
Mhm.
making these things happen. And
Right.
I just want them to know how much we appreciate them.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Ruby. If you do watch this, um, we hope you do. Thank you for those, I think 27 years of service to the people of Tillamook County. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Senator, I think we have now kept it to 28 minutes, and we always like to keep these to just under 30.
Right.
So we'll wrap it up now. So, Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's so nice seeing you again and
It's
being
always
able
good
to
to see you. It's
participate.
always good to see
I
you.
love these discussions. Thank you.
They're always enjoyable, and we will be back. We do these as always weekly during the session. So until June, you'll get one of these in your email box or your YouTube feed um, every week,
Week.
God willing.
Mhm.
But that's the plan.
Yes.
And so we will see you next week, Senator. We will see
Thank you.
everyone next week. Thank you very much, and have a great week.
Thank you.